shared a little bit last week about the mastermind that I'm starting. And I don't have a better word for it. That's a problem. I'm not a really creative guy. So that's what I'm calling it. It's a mastermind. And today I wanted to talk a little bit because maybe you've considered, or maybe you've even done the Front Desk Success Training Program. And if you've read the page that I wrote up about the mastermind, or you watched the Facebook Live last week, you're wondering how the hell this is any different and why you should spend any money on it, and I get it. I want to take you through what the future, right, next year is going to look like, and I want to take you through a little bit about how these both fit in. So the Front Desk Training Program, like I mentioned, is a 3-month program where you bring your team on, right? They watch recorded content, we do live content, we talk about implementation, we teach about implementation, and then we hope for implementation. Yet, really, if you think about it, the only thing that matters is implementation. That's the Front Desk Success Training Program. And the people I've had in the program that have been most successful are people who bring the doers in, so the actual Front Desk team members that are doing the work, and a practice manager and or the owner who can then go through the content and then holds people accountable. Sounds like a lot of work? Yeah, should be. It's work. And the practices businesses who have dropped their front desk people in, and I get it, I challenge everybody to bring that leader, right, into the group, because when you drop just your front desk people in, right, that there is definitely a disconnect. And it is what it is, and I've actually discouraged people from signing up for the Front Desk Success Training Program if this manager, owner, leader can't be actively involved at the same time. Because sometimes some things come up in the training where we don't even know if these things are possible that we're talking about, right? We're talking about longer phone calls. We're talking about changing an intake form. We're talking about empowering. This is a huge one. Talking about empowering the front desk to have a conversation where they don't schedule people, right? Just like the telephone game, they go back and tell the managers this or the owners this, and the perception and interpretation may be different than what was intended, all right? So these are all things I've seen during the Front Desk Success Training Program. I've built in checks and balances for this, and a big one is basically if the owner or practice manager, front desk manager can't be in the training course, then I really discourage people not to sign up, or discourage people from signing up. The Front Desk Success Training Program has been extremely successful for many people, like I said. And some of the similarities between the Mastermind and the Front Desk Training Program is this whole thing around measuring. So the only way we can have accountability is if I give you a measurement, right? I need you to do this. Okay, right? And then nobody follows up, and then there's no measurement for it. It's not gonna get done. It's called life, right? Just like telling your kid, I need you to come home tonight. And then whatever time they come home, you yell at them, or they don't come home tonight, and they were like, well, it's still tonight, right? I mean, it just doesn't work. And that is not an oversimplified example. I think that's the perfect example. So these metrics of success lead you, the practice owner, to understand, is it working or not? These metrics of success get you to understand, are people following through it all, right? Because it might be tracking on the call log. You may say we need 25 calls, right, a week to be successful. Here's the call log to track them. And then people aren't tracking calls. Well, the accountability is we don't have the numbers to see if we're getting the results we want, right? And we got a million examples of these. I don't want to beat that dead horse yet. The metric of success is, and this understanding is how people in the Front Desk Success Training Program have been able to measure, right? Was it helpful or not? What needs work next, right? There's always parts. You may find a certain part's not working for you, right? So you need these metrics of success. So the Front Desk Training Program is also a 3-month run, and then it's back on you to continue the training, like I said. You have access to the videos, you have access to all the content, you have access to all the training, yet it falls on you yet again. And you and I both know that there needs to be a revisit, there needs to be a regular check-in to how are things going, right? As your team evolves, as you evolve, as your business evolves, as your business evolves, as the world around us evolves, as we all know it has, there are changes and tweaks that need to be made. And will you be able to do that? I don't know, right? I can't control for that yet again. So we're starting to see some of the places and reasons why I decided to create this mastermind group, because I see the mastermind an awful lot like the front desk success training program. There will be an awful lot of same information. The question is, how is it shared? And then how are people held accountable so that people will implement? And it's that last part that's really going to be different. And what I've done is I've created a sign-up form, for lack of a better term, because I want to have a conversation with people before they come into the mastermind, just like I do front desk success training. Nobody signs up for the front desk success training program blind and we just start. There's conversations that happen, who's involved, what's involved, can you guys commit, how often can the managers be on the call, all this stuff. That's what that sign-up form is for the mastermind. It's not an exclusion form. It's not to see who makes the most money so I can just sign the people up with the most money, because it's for all sizes. The mastermind doesn't care what size your business is. And actually, I would argue the smaller, the better. I've used the analogy a million times, turning that sailboat in the San Francisco Bay versus turning the ocean liner. Larger practices, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 clinics can benefit. It's just going to be a slower turn, right? Yet that's the beauty of this mastermind. It doesn't matter who's in the group, whether you have 1 or you have 12 offices. The content needs to flow in the same way. There are going to be one-on-one meetings. There's going to be group meetings, because the person with the smaller clinic is going to learn from the larger clinic. And I would argue on the same level, the person from the larger clinic is going to learn from the person in the smaller clinic. In order for this thing to work, right, I could open up a mastermind and just do a bunch of group calls and share content. Where's the accountability? Where's the implementation? So the only true way to get this and then have you move forward, because I'm asking for a 12-month commitment, but I'm also promising if you show no change within 6 months, then you're gone, and I'll give you your money back. It's that simple, because we've been meeting one-on-one. So if you've been doing it, if you've been following along, if you and your team have been active, why should I keep you in the group, and why should I continue to take your money? I won't. I refuse to do that. And on a side note, talking with my new partner, Todd Wickstrom, about our virtual front desk sales company that we've created, is we bring the accountabilities. We don't wait for you to tell us what you want us accountable for. We have a dashboard with about 6 metrics, and I say, this is what we're going to report to you every single week in this. If you want to add something to it, feel free, but these are the 5 basic things. Because I'm not going to come into your business, have you sign up and have us drop a front desk sales associate in there, and then we all hope it works. Or we all just look at the EMR and see how many new patients there are, because those aren't the only measures. So we bring the accountability with us. I've also brought that mindset to the mastermind. We have to bring the accountability, and I keep saying this to people. If I give you accountability and business metrics of success that should work, I would hope you're in the mindset that, well, if it doesn't work, Jerry, it might be your fault. And I'd go, bingo. So that's why we meet. That's why we have the opt-out. That's why we do all these things, because this is the only way we're both going to be successful, is if we can both be held accountable. And it's more than just showing up. It really is. Either of us can show up. Either of us can send someone. I can post a video. You can send a team member to the call. Cool, you were on the call. Then we got to take that content. We got to take the conversations. We got to put it all together. We got to make sure you're measuring the right metrics. We've got to make sure you've implemented, right? So you're getting all the words here. Learning, implementation, and accountability. And then we got to make sure you've implemented in the right manner, shall we say. And then we go. You know, we may find in these one-on-one meetings or in the group meetings that, hey, the front desk is doing all the work. We've got a block at our providers, or we've got a block in the EMR because we don't have anywhere to put the information. This is the stuff we'll work through so that we can continue to build and have this nice flow within your business of marketing, selling, retentions, excitement, and referrals, right? You guys, if you've read my blogs, if you've seen some of my YouTube content, right, that's the flow of your business. Still to this day, 99% of the businesses I deal with are already blocked at the top. They do all this marketing and boom, no sales stuff. They'll tell you they have a retention program, they'll tell you they have a referral program, but without the sales process, none of that is going to matter. So this mastermind will be heavily sales minded. We will connect the marketing to the sales, which feeds back to the marketing. We will connect the marketing to the sales, which plays into retention. Retention feeds back into sales, and retention feeds back into marketing, right? We will also talk about referrals. To this day, I'm still, and this week I've had already, helping people to understand how to ask for referrals. Based on what? Guess what? The first phone call. It's proven every single day. Every day. I listen to calls, I coach people on calls, I do secret callers, and it's proven every day that what occurs further upstream, right, before a client, customer, patient arrives into your clinic, the work you do there is the most leverageable. It is also the most misunderstood, most undervalued, and least leveraged position in your company. That's what this mastermind, which I call Front Desk Profit Makers, is all about. The flow starts there. So we have to start there. We will then work into retention and referral, yet we must start at the top of the chain, top of the food chain, right? We must start at understanding who are you attracting. Now, once you attract them, right, what kind of phone call do we need? What kind of phone conversation do we need? And then once that occurs, what does that phase 2 of your client life cycle look like? Because really the work comes when the phone is hung up, right? I have that phone call, goes about 8-10 minutes. I hang up, what next? Person's not arriving for 7 days, 10 days, right? What's the rest of that phase look like? How do we continue that, what I call the trust trajectory, right? First phone call, arrival. How do we keep trust building until they arrive? And then what we're gonna do in this Front Desk Profit Makers is we're gonna start to work on this. You guys don't hear much about that here, but I have a whole program. This started, when this all started many years ago, it started around the patient life cycle, which meant I built it all out. There's a whole program for how the provider manages the patient on arrival. There's a whole program for how they manage the evaluation. There's a whole program for how they manage the return visits. That's one of the most listened to best podcasts I've ever put out. It was an interview with Jeff Moore, and we talked about managing the patient from arrival through a course of care from the clinical side based on the work that was done upstream. This program at this price shall very much return you 3, 4, 5, 10 times your investment. If your course of care is, I'm just going to go easy, is $1,500 a client, then, right, I'm looking for you to have, I'm looking for you to have a 6 to 10 time ROI on the monthly cost. You do the math. Adding one person a month, how much is that worth to you? It's worth a lot of money. Okay, let's add 2 people a month. Okay, let's add 1 person a week. It's not that difficult, right? Because remember, this whole training and all this work leads to better marketing, leads to better phone calls, leads to more calls. You guys have heard me talk about this. Grow your practice with no new marketing. That's because it's the internal marketing and the information you're gathering during the sales process, during the retention process, that feeds back into your overall marketing, your community marketing, which leads to what? Better phone calls, which leads to what? More conversions, which leads to what? More new patients staying through a course of care. Patient success. So we've got the Front Desk training program, and here's the big kicker here. I'm definitely going to start to fade out the Front Desk Success Training Program. It will probably be offered, but not as often and not to as many, because I truly believe that this mastermind process and formula and structure leads to better success for you. There has to be some ongoing accountability. And that's what I'm finding with the Front Desk Success Training Program, that it's missing the most. We all do our high fives last day of class, and then it's left up to you. And then in the Front Desk Success Training Program, we don't do the connection with the providers like I was talking about. I do very little work on that. And I do that when people ask me along the way to do that, but it's not built into the training program. So I see this Front Desk Profit Makers Mastermind as a better investment, as a better use of your time, money and energy, this mastermind is not just for you, right? It's for you, it's for your practice manager, and it's for your front desk doer, right? So actually 3 people. There's only going to be 12 clinics allowed in at one time. And again, the reason for this is what I've learned during the front desk success training program is in order for you to get your questions answered, to get the help you need to be held accountable and actually implement, we got to limit the size of this. So actually what I'm going to do is, this is going to be pretty fun, is during the month, we're going to do 2 groups of 6 calls, but I'm going to rotate, right? So what, for 6 weeks straight, there'll always be different people in the group. We'll get together for one big call, probably once a quarter, but the rest of the time it's going to be rotating through. So you'll get a little different conversation, get new people when it comes to that more active, we got to work on these conversations type time. And then you get the one-on-one call a month, which is about you and your doing and any roadblocks. And of course, there's always access. Of course, there will be a Facebook group. There has to be, because that's the place to share the content, to do. What I love to do is write down, I've got a list of things here to talk about over here on the left, right? Post a live, Facebook Live every Friday. We talk about, right, how to manage cancels. So we get into the weeds a little more. So your team gets to jump in, they can post their issues with the cancels, and then we get in live and talk about how to manage cancels. Or we talk about, right, what are the 4 types of calls that you're gonna be manning, right? We talk about, I'm just looking here, we talk about how do we really go with value before price, right? We talk about that specifically. That's baked into the program, that's baked into the learning, value before price. But then on a Facebook Live, maybe there's 3, maybe there's 4, maybe there's 5 people that jump in that really want to have this conversation. Yeah, I want to understand that better. And that's going to be an opportunity on top of the group call, on top of the one-on-one calls. So I would argue in some ways, probably in most ways, there will be more giving, more opportunity for participation in the front desk profit makers because of the way I've rolled this up. Group call, one-on-one call, and then Facebook Live's going on, right? So this is what I wanted to do, and thinking about where is the value. There's a commitment. So therefore, if there's bigger opportunity for interaction, there's a bigger commitment. And what I found currently is that people are really excited about it, and they have trouble getting away from the other priorities they've set. So here's another reason to do something for longer than 3 months, right? As of right now, I ask for roughly an hour a week from people, and I don't get that consistently. That's over 7 days. I ask them to give me an hour, and then I give them an hour, right, in the live class, and I don't get that consistently because of what? We're busy, of all the other stuff we're doing. So this longer, more stretched out program will give people the opportunity to, you know what, we got to manage this week, this month, right? Okay, cool. And then they catch back up. So they don't miss anything per se, right? They don't cram it in where it's less of a priority and we get off the call and nothing gets done, because of course there's got to be implementation and accountability, and that's where this all comes in. And if you're having difficulty with other things, that'll come out on the one-on-one call, and then we can manage that, we can put it on pause, we can do whatever we need to do based on what you need. That's why I built the one-on-one calls in there. They have to happen. A, for you to, really get over the hump of implementation, and B, for both of us to understand what's going on in your business on a day-to-day, monthly, weekly that you really need to focus on, right? As your team's working on this, there may be something else the practice manager or the owner needs to do, right? So I'm very excited about this mastermind thing. I've had the structure written out for a while. I really didn't know where it fit with the front desk success training program. And as I do more and more of that, there is a fit for that, yet it's going to be with a lot less frequency. And I may restructure that a bit, yet where I want to put the time, money, and energy, because where I see you being most successful is in these monthly program, right? At least for a year, you have the opportunity, right? I ask for a year commitment, give you the opportunity to opt out if it's not delivering with your money back. 100%. It's that simple. There's no asterisk down at the bottom, like whoever wins the World Series this year will have an asterisk. There is no asterisk at the bottom of that. If you decide to opt out and we both agree that you've done the work, we both have to agree that you've done the work, right? We have to see that you were showing up, that you put things into play. I will give you your money straight back. And I say no questions asked, but the questions asked will be that you follow through on the accountabilities once we both check those boxes off. So there really is no risk. Your risk is the time, right? I've done this enough over and over to show that it works. Having bigger conversations, now having larger groups, hospital groups, right? Larger insurance groups, larger practice groups, really looking at this model of how to optimize this patient success, which leads to business success. So more and more people are having the conversation. And what I would challenge everybody on is, if you don't get on board now with your team and engaging that whole team like we do in the Front Desk Success Training Program and this Profit Makers Mastermind, you will be left behind. Because even though we like to bash on the large corporate groups, they're getting it. They're reaching out more and more. I'm getting more connections from them, right? I see more people out there doing this, asking questions about it and wanting to be engaged and wondering, how do I get the rest of the team involved in this? Because it is about this patient experience and understanding their life cycle. So again, you can reach out to me privately. You can reach out to me here. You'll see more content on my Facebook page, the Patient Experience Focus Group, which is a private group which you can ask to join. I'll throw you in there. I share a lot about the mastermind in there, so I try to keep it to the business side of this. Yet I will be sharing it. The plan is to start on December 1st with 1 person or 12 people, to be honest. And then I have more information I can send you. Again, you can message me, or you can put it in the comments below, and I will share that with you. And all it takes to save your spot is half payment of the first month. And like I said, the numbers again, I'm looking at a minimum 5, 6, 10 ROI on the monthly investment per month. So at the end of the year, you should, what it's going to cost you in a year, you should make 5 to 10 back of that. One new patient a month. Now, let's go 2 new patients a month. And I would like you to think more about this, because this is the doable part. 1 new patient a week. So that's 4 a month times 12. That's 48 paying, happy client, customer, patients who have come through your business with no new marketing. Cheers all. Thanks for your time.